Hey everyone, welcome to the Game Quarters YouTube channel. I'm here today with my friend Bubba, and I'm really excited to share a bit of his story of how he took the 90-day detox and what he learned from it and where he's at now. And so Bubba, first, welcome to the channel.
Thanks, Cam. Glad to be here. I love everything you guys are doing. And I love promoting it.
Thanks so much. And so give us a bit of background quickly on like your history with gaming. When did you start gaming? And prior to taking the 90-day detox, how much were you gaming back then?
Well, I'd start almost 40 years ago when my dad worked at Radio Shack, and we had unlimited access to video games and PCs and remote control cars and everything tech and everything nerdy. And we had a whole studio in our backyard with technology and multiple computers and plenty of games and white suburban type life, having access to devices. The digital babysitting wasn't really a thing as much as it is now, with the more handheld devices for my kids and many of other millennials and boomers kids. But I'd say since a young age, playing text-based Sierra games on a Tandy computer to Sega Genesis growing up, going next door to my buddy's house. After we ran around and played curveball and rode our bikes and stuff, as many millennials will say, we did go outside some, and just tons of games. And gaming was really always been a part of my life. Self-proclaimed nerd. And as I got into high school and college, playing more addictive games like World of Warcraft, EverQuest first, I think, right at a high school. EverQuest. I mean, I was working for the YMCA as a fitness director, but I was also going home and playing all hours of the night. EverQuest, and then World of Warcraft, right when it came out, December 2004. I know you played that many hours. And man, that was an off and on 15 years off and on thing. I played it, but my addiction was starting a new character every 6 months, not building a raid with 40 people and getting on Ventrilo and all those other fun things back in the day to yell at each other for not beating a boss. Mine was just like, hey, I want to start a new character and run around and learn and open up the map. And so that's where it really started, and it lasted into my marriage. I got married in 2007, sorry, and waking up in the morning to play and staying up late. And there wasn't really a time when I wasn't playing up until recently, starting to notice that because I work in the video game and esports industry, am I doing more than I need to? Am I realizing it? Am I learning? Am I meeting people like you to understand what it is? And also getting some really good feedback from my wife about what amount of time I've been spending playing those games. And so, yeah, up to that point, before I really dove into your materials and your modules and your training, I denied calling it addiction. I denied having co-addictions with soda and with food and other things that are dopamine hits that help with glucose and all this other stuff that can happen inside our body. So I got to this point, and the next part, we definitely want to talk about how Game Quitters was a beneficial thing for me and my career and my family.
And so when you were kind of coming to the point where you realized like you want to make some changes, how much were you gaming at that point on a kind of a daily basis?
I was playing a lot. It was COVID, and it was 2020, all of 2020. And our friends, we couldn't meet up and hang out. All my friends from church, we couldn't just go do men's group and go out to eat or hang out, play basketball. We just couldn't do anything that whole year. So that whole year, every night in the basement on my PC, we all lived to who's going to text first and say, are you getting on? And, I spent a lot of time just rallying the troops. And it was funny after the funny thing my friends would say after I stopped playing so much was, Bubba, we only got on because you were rallying us. And so I'm such an enabler, it sounds like. And the weeknights, the weekends, I would want to play Call of Duty. We played Call of Duty Warzone. It came out right as COVID hit in March 2020, and we played that and played that and played that. And up until May of 2021, that's where I lived. I lived in Call of Duty world playing Warzone with my friends. It was my social time, but it was also my time to escape and not connect with my family, not connect with my wife, because I was spending time and I also searching for that time. It'd be the afternoons and the weekend when I should be out with my kids doing stuff. But I'm like, okay, well, nothing's going on right now. Let me go down and play a game of Warzone. Or we've got family in town, and man, I just don't want to deal with just the pleasantries of talking about the weather and everything else. I'm gonna go play video games. And so it was like we learned in addiction that it's finding times, and it's sometimes also hiding or sneaking or secretively finding those opportunities to play games when people are not home. Like, oh, gosh, nobody's here. I could be working right now because we're all working from home. Let's play video games. And it didn't really take over my work schedule, luckily, but I also was in the video game industry, so I also say to myself, and I soothe myself by saying and using my evil genius to, well, I work in this industry. I can play some games with people, while I'm working, and it's fine. And the people I work with say this is part of what we do in our industry. Is we play video games while we work, and so I just bought into it. And it was May of 2021 when I really dove into your product and dove into your training, and said, I've got to do something.
Wow. And you decided to take 90 days off gaming, which is one thing that we suggest for people as sort of a reset. Like, it's an opportunity to just take a break and kind of reevaluate your relationship with games, which I was always fascinated when you decided to do this because you work in the industry and you're so passionate about gaming and esports, and you do so much for that industry to grow it. And so it was really interesting to me to have you take a break from games as that reset. Now, with the 90-day detox, we've always suggested, like, for someone who's looking to understand their relationship to games, it's a good opportunity to do that. At the end of it, you can decide if you want to continue to stop forever, if you want to continue to stop for more time, if you want to go back and play in moderation, and just learn more about ultimately what your relationship is like and where balance or control is going to be for you. And so when you went through that 90-day detox, what was that experience like for you?
Well, Cam, I think I had a double benefit from your trainings, because I was able to do after the clinical training and see that side of it, even though I'm not getting a certification in it because I'm not a clinician or a therapist, but being able to go through that because I asked because I wanted to be able to know how to talk about it. So these words and these phrases I'm using, I've learned through your courses, and spending time just connecting the dots. But that was after the 90 days, and in this 90-day window, I can probably make it a few days kind of feel. I mean, it's the the crack addict, like, oh my gosh, if I just get a hit, right? That's really what it is. It's an addiction, and we don't call it what it is sometimes, or all the time. Let's just be honest. And even though disorder, addiction is used simultaneously or in transition of each other, it's there. And that 90-day for me was one of the best times in the summer to play video games, because kids are out of school, all of your friends want to play. It was a social time. I was gathering all my friends together to play games every night. I had to find different ways to connect with my friends. So on Sundays at church, or going out to lunch, or just going over their house and playing card games or hanging out or whatever. We can now do different things. I mean, yeah, COVID wasn't as strong in that summertime in 2021. So there was still an excuse before I took the 90 days to not go over to my friend's house, even though we could. And then throughout the 90 days, my focus was health and wellness and recovery. Um, and I benefited greatly. Let me be honest. I was over 315 pounds, and I had let myself go. COVID was a stressful depression gathering time for all of us across the world, and sitting at home working rather than working in the industry I've worked in for years in sports and always being active and moving around and then moving to esports, always going places and meeting, and we weren't doing that. So 315 pounds, and I started the 90-day fast in, I think it was like June 1st, I believe, of 2021. By the end, I realized, oh, this is 90 days? Well, it wasn't too bad. And that night, my friends got together, and we played we played ping pong at my buddy's house, and we had like a Call of Duty tournament kind of fun thing. And I was so bad. I was using a controller because I used my mouse and keyboard, and I was like, this is fun, I guess, but I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. I haven't played it so long. But I was also 40 pounds lighter, a lot more educated, going through recovery, eating healthier, spending lots more time with my family, and it changed my life. It really changed my life. It not only just for me, but for my family's sake, and for my wife, and there's nothing better than what it did for someone like me, and many who knows numbers. I'm sure you have the numbers of those at risk, above at risk, and in that level, who are suffering from this, and their families are suffering. It changed me, and I couldn't be where I am today without it, because I don't know hypothetically where I would be. I'd probably be less educated, and I'd be heavier, and I'd have a worse relationship with my family and my wife and my kids. And I owe it to it. I owe it to the Game Quitters courses for that 90-day fast to really kick off and be that accelerant and be the catalyst for a healthy lifestyle. And I still get up and go work out at the gym, and I play a ton of basketball, and I eat healthier, and I spend more time with my family. And that's been going on since last August or so, or last September, since the 90-day fast is over. And my gameplay is doing live gameplay with people on LinkedIn, having interviews, rather than I guess I got time. Let me play a game. I'll go read something. There's this book I've been wanting to read, or there's been something I wanted to do, or hey kids, let's wrestle and let's go outside. And like, this just wasn't it. What my intentionality wasn't there before that 90-day fast. And the courses, of course, going through all the modules was extremely helpful for all this language and all this information to know how, one, to live it, and then two, in a person in this industry who runs a nonprofit who is constantly talking about all the benefits of why your kids should play games. Hey, there's also toxicity and addiction and screen time moderation that I want to make sure you're aware as a parent, and there's tools and resources out there for you. And I probably type in gamequitters.com quite often in chat to say, you should check this out. This is really good. Click the one that says parent, or texting it to people as I'm in a conversation, like, hey, check this out. Here, I'm going to send this to you. This is really good, because I always get the same questions that pop up on that Facebook group that's on Facebook. That's, my kid's crazy. I can't control him. He just yells at me when I play video game. He plays video games. Like, oh man, check this out. Use this.
Well, I appreciate that, and I'm so happy to hear how much it benefited you, because I think that's the whole point. Is it's an opportunity to see a contrast in your life between life with gaming and life without it. And it's not that it has to be one or the other. For some individuals, it will actually just be easier maybe to not play. But for many people, it's about finding that balance and finding where that intentionality can come in. And I think that word intention, right, is so key here. You mentioned at the beginning that your wife had been a bit of a source of the inspiration, kind of mentioning like you were maybe playing too much, or it was kind of causing some other issues. What would your wife say about gaming now?
I love how you say my wife is a source of inspiration. That's such a delicate way to say that. That earns brownie points for our wives. But I think if I said that to her, honey, you're such an inspiration to me not wanting to play video games, she's like, you're such a jerk. What do you mean?
Yeah.
You saying so-" anyways? Yeah, I think
Yeah,
at that point I
mine would
wouldn't have said
say,
you're.
"What did you do?" Like, if I
Yeah.
said you're such an inspiration, she'd say, "What did you do?"
I don't think I could be that asinine with her and sarcastic and say that. You're such an inspiration. I just want to take the trash out now. There's no conversation like that happening with our spouse. This is such a anyways, typical male thing that I'm saying right here. Stereotypical. So how does she feel about it now? I don't know, but way better because I'm not spending time without her, and we're connecting. And what she would say now is, my husband did this. He committed to it, and he worked on it, and he grew, and we wouldn't be where we are today without doing this addiction recovery courses and modules. And our lives are better. Our income's better. Our health and wellness is better. Just the ability to find opportunity through not being stuck and pushing through this deep mud of addiction and it affecting everything. So that's where she has said to me many times, like, thank you, and I appreciate this because I'm me. She can't do it for me, and we there's plenty stereotypical TikToks out there about partners and people playing video games too much, and we live it. We unfortunately live it, and it's something that's helped us grow closer. And she will definitely say, like, this ability to step away and find a healthy balance and find a voice for yourself. Saying these things to me is really important because I'm changed, and she sees it, and I get to talk to my friends about it, and all my friends that I used to rally around Call of Duty, I rally around go and play basketball and other ways to use my tools and my gifts. And I say, hey, you should check out this Game Quitters and take this course, and they have, and they're on their own path, their own journey.
Well, that's so awesome to hear. As we wrap up, can you tell people a little bit about the work that you do and where they can go and learn more information?
Yeah, so I get to be a part of a couple different things. My main role over the past few years has been the executive director of the Varsity Esports Foundation, and we're a nonprofit charity that supports the ecosystem and the pipeline for students in the scholastic space, for gaming esports clubs in schools, especially those in lower income areas, disenfranchised families. Title I schools is a term we refer to schools that need extra funding to support because there's not enough in those communities. And we mainly focus on that, providing scholarships and grants, and then help students support in that pipeline with college and career readiness through STEM accredited curriculum that gives them the ability to go to college, be in careers around the video game industry, that's graphic design or computer science or engineering or being a journalist or a broadcaster. And that's the fun part of my life, and that's grown what I do and why I do it and why I run a nonprofit. My passion is been the past few years, but I'm also run my own small business that I have clientele from sports and education and technology that I do work for and make content for, and I just get out there and try to talk about video games and talk about the benefits of video games, as well as interviewing people and saying, hey, tell me about yourself.
I just appreciate you coming on to share your story and for being open to this conversation overall. I'm really happy that it had the benefits for you it did. And I hope that for people who are watching, that this inspires you to maybe consider taking a break from games or take an opportunity to rebalance it to a point where it's providing those benefits for you in your life, but it's not causing the other issues. Because that's really what this is all about. It's about bringing it back into control, where you get the benefits, but you don't get the challenges. And everyone's going to be a little bit different in how they do that, in how they accomplish it, and what that ultimately means for them. But just like Bubba's story today, whatever your background, there's an opportunity to find better control over your games. And so that's what I hope for you, and that's what Game Quitters is ultimately all about. So if you're new here, hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and share what stood out to you in the comments below. And if you want to get started with Game Quitters, go to gamequitters.com/apply, and you can book a call with me, and I'd love to help you get started with one of our programs today. Until next time.